Hello friends, welcome to yet another session on essay perspectives. The topic for today is whoever controls the media controls the mind. As always, I have a personal request friends, third edition of my book has unfortunately been pirated. I urge all of you to buy originals. Original copies can be bought by scanning the QR code on the screen or by clicking on the link in the screen. Friends, every essay has to be first conceptualized as being made of various components and subcomponents. Similarly, this essay, first we would introduce the topic, then we would dwell upon the essence of the topic, and then we would talk about how media would control mind. Then we would pause a bit and we introduce a critical element by questioning if media always controls the mind, and then lastly we should discuss as to how should one insulate one's mind from media. Then we would conclude. As soon as I saw this topic, I was reminded of media reporting during COVID, friends. If you can analyze, if you can properly, broadly, in the initial first wave when COVID was about to set in, even before setting in the COVID, the media aired so much news about COVID, its dangerous effects, etc., etc. COVID protection from COVID became such a big buzzword. It directed every individual, it conditioned the minds of every individual to be fearful, to be apprehensive of COVID. Correct? But as time passed by, so I think at least after second wave or so, the media also reduced its tone of propaganda, of airing news about COVID, etc., etc. So somehow people also stopped following COVID protocols and all. That is what we have seen. And let us come to the last COVID. Recently there was a surge in cases which some people dubbed to be another wave, where media hardly had any news about COVID. So thus people also did not care much about it. So this is the best example as to how the media conditions the mind, how media indirectly endures or indirectly prod an individual to commit a certain action, to exhibit a particular behavior, to take a particular decision, and so on and so forth. Correct? So this is a common sense which we can always think about. Not just this, friends, actually. See, if media starts talking about some issue continuously, so you would think about that issue. If the media stops talking about it, you would also not worry much about it. So this is quite common. But COVID, I feel, is the best example, because across the waves there was a difference in the decibel of media reporting on the COVID. So the higher the decibel, higher the pitch, then there was more public discussion on COVID. There was more conditioning of the mind and orienting of the minds of people towards COVID. But as time passed, the media also reduced its influence on the COVID. Correct? And so much so that actually there were memes circulating in the social media stating that COVID does not spread by the virus, it is spread by the media, something like that. All of us have gone through, all of us have seen. Correct? So thus it is media that conditions the mind. So this essay seeks to explore whether it is true or not. Then we have to delve deeper into the essence of the topic, friends. We have to dissect the topic, dissect the essay statement into three keywords. So the first one is media, second is control, third is mind. Correct? So these are the three keywords in the essay topic, essay statement. First, let us talk about media. What is media? In plain English, media means a channel. Correct? So here media implies mass communication mechanisms that seek to relay information to public at large. It can be print media or it can be electronic media. You can also include social media into it. Correct? So basically it is a channel that seeks to relay the news information to public at large. Correct? That is what we call media. Then what is control? Control essentially means conditioning. correct? Or to put it in another words, control essentially means regulating one's actions, one's decisions, etc. In other words, control essentially means taking away the independent functioning, independent decision making, independent behavior from an individual, correct? So basically, so when someone is exercising control, he essentially influences a person to exhibit a particular behavior, to commit a particular act, or to undertake a particular decision, correct? So then last is mind. Mind represents thoughts. So what do you think? So in this context, at least it is thoughts. So what do you think is what is represented by mind. So let us now bring together all the three. Okay, bringing together all the three, we can rephrase the essay statement as: whoever decides what news should be relayed through media to the public at large would condition the thoughts of the public at large. So, if a person decides to relay a particular news, okay, through a media, then that person would indirectly decide the thoughts of the public itself. So that means the thoughts of the public at large are conditioned and influenced by the news, the information they are exposed to by media, correct? So this essay seeks to explore whether thoughts of a particular individual are conditioned by the news they are exposed to by the media or not, correct? Okay, now let us after digging deep into the essence of the topic, now it is time for us to explore as to how media would decide one's thoughts, correct? So first is repetition. See, the media has the potential to expose a particular individual to a similar and same type of thoughts again and again, correct? When a person is exposed to the same thought again and again, one, it is intrinsic for any individual to start thinking about it, or if he already has some opinion about a particular issue, if he is continuously exposed to contradictory opinion by the media, it is very likely that slowly his opinion would also change, correct? It is simple. As and when, see, it is quite natural for any individual to like the person who he or she meets frequently, correct? So that attachment gets diminished as and when the meeting and the transaction with that person dwindles. This is our personal experience, correct? Same is the case with media. In media, so same is the case with exposure to media. So you are exposed to a similar same news time and again, then you tend to condition your mind that way. I feel the best example is the way COVID messages were relayed through caller tunes by the government during COVID. Why was that done? Because whoever you call at that time, the caller tune used to say, you should follow the COVID protocol, social distancing, mask, don't go indoors, use sanitizer, whatnot. Why was it so? Only because the government realized that it is important to repeatedly inject the thought of adhering to COVID protocols in the minds of public. So that's why that repetition was done. So media controls the mind because media repeatedly exposes the mind to a particular thought, correct? Okay, then next, attractive depiction. See, the media has the media does not package the information in a raw, dry way, correct? Always it is packaged in a very attractive fashion through graphs, through stories, through cartoons, through whatnot, through attractive anchoring, through publishing of research studies, statistical analysis, whatnot. So, thus, this active depiction would actually make an individual get convinced, or would force the thoughts of an individual to get aligned in a particular way. The best illustration is Fevicol advertisement, correct? They can very well say that Fevicol is very strong. Whenever you paste, you fix two separate items using Fevicol, they would not get apart. They would, correct. So they can very well say that it would hold two independent parts very stiff and strong. They can very well say like that and end, just as I told you, but it is not attractive. But why? How would media do that? So they come up with very creative way. They would say that one elephant is trying to pull one part from. Two elephants are trying to pull two parts which are attached by Fevicol in opposite directions. Yet it does not break. What an attractive depiction it is. So obviously, the tendency is to get attracted and say, wow, it is good. So thus this attractive depiction is the power of the media. So you tell something and you tell the same in a very attractive fashion, correct? So that is the second thing. Third, expert opinion. See, media packages every news, every thought as if it is being relayed by an expert. See, Sensodyne advertisement. Of course, don't think that I am just replacing media by advertisement in this essay, but essentially advertisement is one of the essential component of the news that is being relayed by media. So I am just taking illustrations from that. Take Sensodyne advertisement. In the Sensodyne advertisement, the expert doctor would come and say that this is very good for your teeth, for sensitivity, etc., etc. So basically, the media tries to pitch in to relay every information through a person who is regarded to be an expert in the field, correct? See, the public at large, audience at large are mostly simple men. They are common men, ordinary men, novices. They would not have full knowledge of every domain of knowledge, correct? It's quite natural. So then some expert is brought. Then that expert would say, do this, don't do that. Then obviously your tendency is he is an expert in the field. We have to believe in him. So you start reposing faith in the news being transmitted. That's how your mind would get convinced and your thoughts would get conditioned as they wish to do. Then, friends, the next way in which media controls the mind is first mover impact. See, friends, it is not necessary that every individual has an opinion on every issue. Sometimes we don't have thoughts on anything. Do you think a villager in a rural area, some remote area, will have some thoughts on artificial intelligence, machine learning? No, right? Similarly, a software engineer in Bangalore, software engineer in Gurgaon, would he have any thoughts on, let us say, agriculture? Would he have, of course, agriculture maybe, yes, of course, he may have, but would he have some thoughts on, let us say, tribal culture in interior parts of the country? No, right? See, basically all of us are specialists in some domain. Our thoughts revolve around such domain specialities necessarily. In such a scenario, so when a person does not have any opinion on anything, the moment is exposed to a media piece, okay? So it is a tendency to believe what one is exposed to first, correct? So initially whatever you see, you say, okay, correct, it may be that way. It is quite natural, quite essential, I mean quite natural. So thus, by creating first more impact in the minds of individuals who don't have any thoughts, media would decide that they cling to the thoughts for a very long time. If you unless a very solid evidence is presented before them, correct? So then shrouding the past means media tries to give you so much input that you would forget what are you exposed to in the past. So it is quite natural. Let us say there is a person who firmly believes in socialistic economy, correct? So in the past he has seen and experienced and benefited from the socialistic policies of the government, correct? So but after some time now he is continuously being exposed to the illustrations of the countries of the socialist countries that have crumpled very badly because of socialist policies. Continuously is exposed to studies that claim that socialism would not create enough wealth for redistribution. So in order to ensure redistribution of the wealth, creation of wealth is the first thing. Pie has to be large enough so that it can be distributed. So socialism seeks to focus on redistribution of the pie, but it does not think about increasing the size of the pie. So continuously such reports, illustrations, historic examples are given, are exposed to a particular person. Then it's quite natural that slowly that fellow will start thinking that capitalism is good. So thus it would shroud the previous opinions. That's how it controls the thoughts and minds. And then invisible impact on the coffee shop discussions. What do I mean? See, basically friends, initially as soon as you see that in the media some news, maybe you would not believe in that. Your thoughts may not change. You may continue, you may not form a new opinion, nor may you change your earlier opinion, correct? But sometimes it may so happen once in a while that you're exposed to some media item, you don't care, but whenever you are in an informal meeting, you chai pe charcha, coffee shop discussions, whenever you are in an informal meeting, then suddenly somebody would start discussing about this news item, and they would say this is correct because so and so, that is what they think. They would start sharing their experiences, opinions, etc. Correct. So indirectly, see, the tendency to believe something, to get your thoughts conditioned, increases as it is being appreciated and accepted by the informal group to which you want to become a party. That is what we call groupthink. So when the group you want to shed away your own opinions, and you just want to take up the opinion whichever the group agrees it to be true. So basically informal discussions have this potential to condition your thoughts, but those informal decisions are indirectly impacted by this media. So hope I have made sense. So thus media would control the mind. As always friends, we should write an analytical essay. So in analytical essay we should argue for the topic, then we should pause a bit and we should counter argue. We should counter the same arguments which we ourselves have advanced. Okay. So in this, what is the counter argument? So would media always control the mind? The answer is no. Why? Because there are some long held beliefs which cannot be changed. Let us have that clarity. All of us are individual, and as you grow old, as you become elderly, you hold strongly to your opinions than when you are in your youth. Correct. So the best example is, despite so much media talk about women empowerment, despite so many movies, so many advertisements, so many studies, everything talking, batting for women education, still there are many parts of the country where women are not educated much. Women empowerment is still a pipe dream. Correct. Take the example of Kap Panchayats. I mean, there are women who are not allowed to wear jeans. Of course, this is like some long-held beliefs cannot be changed. It is very difficult. Same is the issue with caste system. Media, no media. Do you really remember some media item that promotes caste system or discrimination in the name of caste system? Absolutely no, right? But even then, caste system, caste discrimination is still entrenched in many parts of the country, if not much in urban areas, in rural areas, even in urban areas for that matter. So why is that so? Because some long held beliefs cannot be conditioned by media. They are like a part of personality, they continue to remain with the person. Then perceptual errors. Sometimes what happens, media, the news item in a media, the information relayed by media is not pursued as it is. It is pursued, pursued in a different way. Perceived in a different way that actually distorts the conditioning. So media wants to condition your mind in a particular way. You would understand it in a different way, and you would you would form an altogether different opinion. So sometimes there is this perception error. To illustrate, let us say the media is trying to convey the message that women should be given right to choose their life partner. Maybe this is through some movie, some discussion, whatnot. But a parent who is watching it, instead of considering it to be a wake-up call to him, not to force his daughter to marry his choice, but to marry her life partner of her choice. Okay. Instead of taking it that way, the parent may take it to be an alarm call that he should immediately get her married as early as possible. Otherwise, she would choose a life partner of her choice, leading to his face off with her, or leading to her wrong decisions or whatever. Correct. So what I'm trying to tell you is, the intention was altogether different. Intention was to tell them that women deserve the right to choose a life partner, but instead of taking it in the right spirit, it is construed to be an alarm call to get his daughter married off early. Correct. So thus media may attempt to condition mind in certain way, eventually conditioning mind in an altogether different way. Correct. So thus similarly there are counter narratives in the media itself. See, we are thinking, as I already argued, repetition is a very powerful act by virtue of which media would condition a person's thoughts. Correct. So that means the same issue, same opinion has to be relayed continuously. But what happens? But in a media is not a... See, point one, the media, there is not one media. There are multiple medias. Second, same media also does not stick to the same news. So always the counter narratives also are being relayed through media. If one media tries to claim that socialism is good, another media would start claiming that capitalism is good. So finally it would lead to a neutralizing factor. So finally, if one person says do this is good, if another person comes and starts debating that whatever that person has said is not good, then finally the impact created by the first news item gets neutralized by the news item of second news item. Correct. So thus finally eventually what happens? So finally eventually this actually makes mind to be very careful, and mind thinks, okay, no, let me not get carried away, we don't know what is true. Correct. So thus counter narratives would stop media from conditioning mind in a particular way. Then ideas defying logic are not accepted. ideas defying logic are not accepted by mind, not media. So sometimes media would try to relay some ideas and all which a common mind would think it is illogical. Then would the mind accept it? No. How much ever you relay that information, mind will not accept. So some ideas which defy the common sense, which defy the logic, are not at all accepted by mind. However attractive you relay that information, however repeatedly you relay that information. Then comes personality bias. So basically we perceive things as we are, not as they are. So this all of us are aware actually. So a person who is a rightist would get attracted to rightist ideologies being relayed in the media. A person who is a leftist would get attracted to leftist ideas being relayed in the media. So basically a rightist would watch only those channels, read only those newspapers, read only those blogs that promote, propagate, popularize the rightist ideas. Same is the case with leftist individuals. And now all of us are aware. Now whatever we search in the Google would only throw up the results which match our earlier searches. Correct. And also there is a scope for subscription. So you only restrict, or you turn a blind eye to something which you don't want to listen to. You believe in something and you want to buttress the same opinion, just substantiate your opinion with many illustrations, etc., etc. So thus, in that way, how can media condition? Media cannot condition. You have decided something and taking only what you think your mind should understand, your thought should be. Correct? Last one is conscious mind. See friends, all aside, there is something called conscious mind. So you cannot, everyone is not so gullible to be taken over by media. So there is something called conscious mind. You see something and your mind says no, that is wrong, you will not believe. Every news item that is published in the media is subjected to your own self-scrutiny, knowingly or unknowingly by your mind, and mind would only accept if that news item passes that scrutiny test being conducted by the media. Correct? So thus, these are different ways, these are the different reasons why, because of which media cannot control mind. Correct? So media cannot control mind. So we think media can control, no, because of these reasons. Then friends, now see, finally all said and done friends, we have understood that how powerful media can be in conditioning the mind. We have also understood that how media cannot always condition one's mind, one's thoughts. But friends, ultimately you should be smart enough, pragmatic enough to insulate yourself from the media. Correct, because you cannot allow your conscience to be hijacked by a third person called media. Correct? Then how should one insulate one's mind from media? So the first thing is, you should verify. It's a very simple thing. Whatever is relayed in the media, whether it is true or not, you should verify through your own means. Of course, there would be a lot of items being relayed in the media. Whatever you think is very critical to your thought process, whatever you think is very critical for your opinion, then rather than taking it just like that, please take it with a pinch of salt. Just Google or just have discussion with some people whether whatever is being propagated is true or not. So that verification is very important. See, if some opinion, some news is just randomly is being relayed, you have no business whatsoever, then don't care. But if something is very crucial, critical, if it has some relation, some bearing on your thought process, then you cannot take it just like that. You have to take it with a pinch of salt. Then comes take facts but not opinions. See, media has this smart way of packaging facts as well as opinions together. Okay, so you a conscious mind, a commonsensical individual should take the facts, not the interpretations. So you take the facts and you interpret for yourself. So that is the second way in which one can insulate oneself from the media. Then don't stick to one media. I already told you. If you are a rightist, if you start reading only about rightist ideologies, you will never get to know the truth. If you are leftist, you start reading and exposing yourself only to leftist ideologies, you will never get to know the truth. Basically, you have to should not stick to one media. You should allow free fall of many ideas from many channels. So then only this argument and counter argument will allow you to come to a judgment. Correct? So that is why it is very important for you to be exposed to multiple medias, preferably medias that espouse diametrically opposite ideologies. So that's how your mind should be open mind should behave. Then find patterns in the media. See, an independent media cannot relay uniform opinions, uniform messages. Correct? See, media itself is just a mediator. It is just a channel. But you observe there would be one particular media which would be pro-government. There would be one particular media which would be anti-government. If you understand the interpretations continuously, news continuously, then you would realize that, so okay, this media is biased to this issue. This media is biased to that issue. Correct? So that would enable you to read every news item in that media with a disclaimer. That disclaimer would allow your mind to be independent, not to get carried away. Correct? Then firm and flexible mind. So friends, mind has to be firm, it has to be flexible. First you have to train your mind. See, whenever you understand something, you are convinced about something, you should be firm. You should not see, today I saw a red article and then in that article they argued for something. Tomorrow today I believed in this. Tomorrow I read another article, then that article is arguing for an entirely different topic, then I change my opinion. It cannot be that way, right? So you have to be firm, but at the same time flexible. What does this oxymoron means? How can you be firm and flexible at the same time? See, you have to be firm. First you have to understand and you have to get convinced about a particular opinion. Your convictions have to be so strong that they can be changed only by equally strong evidence. As simple as that. But when you are presented with an equally strong evidence opposite to your viewpoint, then you have to change your viewpoint. So basically, the way if you train your mind in that way, then perhaps you would be independent enough. So friends, after this discussion, it is time for conclusion. From this elaborate discussion, we can conclude that it is needless to say that media has overriding impact on the mind and thoughts of an individual. At many times, if not all times. So, however, an individual has to be careful enough to receive the information relayed in the media always with a pinch of salt, and a person should develop independent thought process, should be smart enough to cut the clutter in the media, to just weed out the noise in the media, to listen to the music underlying it. Okay, thank you friends. Let's meet next week with another topic.